And there we are.
All right. Now we look like we're hugging.
No, we're not hugging. No, let's record. I can cut all this. No big deal.
I don't care if you cut it or not. I've said a lot more fucked up things than that in public.
Well, we'll just put this in at the end. They all do it, right?
The blooper,
Cuts.
The blooper
Yeah,
reel.
the cuts. The fucking part. Anyway, welcome everybody. I'm here today. It's Sunday, February
23rd. 23rd.
23rd.
Yeah.
It's 3:42. Not that you give a shit, but hey, again, we're here with Sean Lattimer here at the Lattimer practice every Sunday, 1:30. So we're just going to ask Sean a few questions, see what he thinks about arm wrestling of today, how it's going, his opinion on where it may go in the future, and just some stuff like that.
All right, cool.
All right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Like I said, just let it fucking
Yeah.
let it go. We got 29 minutes to do this. So, what do you think we should hit on first? Do you want to talk about WinterBlast, or do you want to talk about some sort of topic that's hot right now? In our
Well, I mean, WinterBlast is a big topic in and all of itself, right?
Correct.
I've been going to WinterBlast since 2009.
Okay.
All right, right when I started. Sue Fisher used to run it in this little bar, and you'd get 100, 150 entries.
Okay.
Would they have 500 and something entries last year?
I believe it was around 600, but yes,
Yeah,
absolutely. It was big.
So WinterBlast has come a hell of a long way in the years that I've been in the sport. If you look at my medal collection, half of them say WinterBlast on them. So, it's come from like a little barroom tournament to something absolutely massive. It's got a huge team that's running it. I've seen a lot of dedication put into it. I think it's the largest tournament in the U.S. right now.
Yes, sir.
And it might be like second largest in North America. I think the Canadians beat them out on numbers a little bit with their nationals.
I believe you're right.
But I mean, it's huge. So, of course, with all that success, comes all the controversy and all the bullshit from all the people that think they're better than everybody else. So you got to listen to all that on Facebook to get down to actually what's actually going on. But WinterBlast is a well-run tournament. I've pulled in a lot of them. I've pulled in one or two of them since 98%'s been involved, and they've been great tournaments with huge attendance, great people running it. You get some massive talent that shows up. It's really cool stuff. So, for something that's kind of homegrown in the Philadelphia region, it's huge, and we never had a presence that large in this part of the country. Ever. Especially now that arm wrestling kind of decentralized into these regional type of things that are going on now.
East Coast, Beast Coast.
Well, West Coast tries. That's all I can say.
I mean, they got Derek Smith.
They're trying.
They're trying.
They really are.
I mean, don't get it twisted. I would never arm wrestle Derek Smith. That dude is a moose.
Derek's a good dude.
He absolutely is.
But when I met him, he was a little skinny guy.
Was he?
Yeah, I met him in like 2012 at a Nationals, and I think he weighed like 280, and he was a stick.
280 a stick.
I think he's like 6'9".
I honestly don't. Well, he did go out and train with Brian Shaw when he was first. When Brian was out there,
Yeah,
so he was
about
as
the same
tall,
height.
if
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
If not an inch taller, so
Yeah.
6'9". Brian Shaw, I believe, is 6'8".
And I remember standing there. I was standing there talking with Rich Lupke's. And
Moose.
And legend in the sport. And it was the first time I had met Rich. And he's such a super nice guy. He'll talk to anybody. He's got all these stories. He's just super, super nice guy. And we were sitting there bullshitting, and Derek walks up. And I remember looking like, holy shit, why is he up there?
Hello up there.
And I remember Rich looking at it and going, look, if you really want to arm wrestle, you got to get up to 350 at least.
With that height?
And I think that's about what he weighs now. So he took the advice. But that was the day I met him. I know he runs some big practices out there. Mm-hmm. I know they're pushing to run bigger and bigger tournaments all over the place.
It's fantastic.
There's a lot of big stuff going on. There's stuff Sean Hancock's doing that's really big and growing. There's a lot of people trying.
Speaking of Hancock, he's going to be the ones reffing. He's going to be the master ref.
Yeah. He's bringing a whole team of certified refs in from what I understand.
Yes, sir.
So they're like world level referees that are all running WinterBlast. It's not a bunch of volunteers out of the audience. These are real deal, top of the line, trained and certified referees. So that's not normally what you see at a tournament. Normally it's a couple of the arm wrestlers brought a referee shirt with them and referee.
And we're not saying that is bad. We're just saying.
But that's what it is, because most tournaments can't bring in talent like that. They can't afford to do it.
Well, correct. Yes.
This tournament has grown enough and is big enough that now they can afford to put themselves in a position where they can have that kind of level of legitimacy. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, he helped knock it out of the park last year.
Yeah. He is a good referee. It's interesting to listen to him. That southern accent.
Wrist.
I don't know how wrist has 2 syllables, but he makes it have 2 syllables.
Shoulder. Center.
But he is a good referee. I sat through his referee class last year and decided I can't be a referee. So
I did as well. I sat through a couple of them.
It was him and Judy from Poland.
Yes,
gave
sir.
the class. I thought she was going to beat me up. I was so terrible. So I will never be a referee based on that experience.
Judy's strict. Judy's nice. She gets up to the table, all business.
Yeah, well.
Business, that's it.
Yeah, I was so bad at it, I know I'll never be a referee. Guaranteed.
It's okay. Now you know.
But I learned something that day.
Easier ways to cheat.
Well, no.
I'm sorry, knowing the rules better. Not exactly
there
cheating,
were,
just knowing the rules.
Surprisingly, there was actually a lot of things that they showed me on the table that I was not aware of.
That's exactly right.
That I think I've been fouled on before, and I could never figure out why. So it did give me some information that it was really worth it to sit through that course, just even as a competitor level kind of thing, to understand better what the referees are looking at and understand more, at a world level what I would have expected if I'd ever been able to go to Worlds. What I could have expected from a referee at that level, because it's very different from what I'm used to at the standard barroom tournament refereeing. And it is a whole different kind of thing when you have a referee with that level of knowledge and that level of skill, and they really, really know what they're looking at and they really know the rules. Because there was a bunch of stuff that I learned there that I never saw before. So it was great to sit through that. If you're a competitor, even if you don't want to be a referee, if you're a competitor, I would go to that class when Sean offers it.
Okay.
And sit through it just to learn from it. Because you learn a lot about what the referees are looking at and what they're looking for. For anybody who's a referee, I didn't say this out loud, how to work around what they're looking for. If you're a smart puller.
I learned a lot taking those classes, and I took multiple classes. So, it's nice. I mean, I am not an arm wrestler by any means, but I enjoy the workout. It's super fun.
Yeah, we have a good time with it.
Oh, I have a blast here.
Yeah, and I don't I've got a lot of guys who come to practice just to get away and do some man stuff.
That's what it is.
It
really is.
I got guys who they don't really want to compete, but they want to get away. They want to hang out with the guys. They want to do something athletic. Not really interested in competing, but they want to get out and do something, and it's kind of their reset for the week, and keeps them sane. So
I hear that,
and it's good for that. And then I've got some guys who are amazing competitors. I got Kevin Kaler training here, and the level of power that guy's got is just scary. So
It is. It really is.
For a guy, I mean,
How many years?
he's been in it since like 2019. So he's got 5 years. He's got 5 years of experience. You know, he's a little bit light for the 220 class. He doesn't quite fill out the 220. You know, we watched him weigh himself today at 219 and in full clothes with his phone in his pocket, his keys, and everything else.
And I weigh a solid 205. He weighs 10 pounds more than me.
And he's a foot taller.
And he's a foot taller. I don't understand. But he is always in pants, so I don't actually get to see his legs.
So I picked on him about that a few weeks ago, and he actually pulled up a pant leg, and now I know why he weighs what he weighs.
Getaway sticks? Getaway sticks.
He has a set of number 2 pencils.
We love you, Kevin.
So it all makes sense now, but good God, is he strong. You know, we got 3 guys holding on the other end of a rubber band to give him enough to pull against.
That's 3 guys on the band while I'm on the table with his hand in mine. 3 other guys.
Yeah, it's insane the amount of power the man has. You know, and he's still really relatively young in the sport. You know, but yeah, his power is incredible. When I was still able to pull, I struggled with him. When my left arm was still good and competitive, I struggled with Kevin because he's that goddamn powerful. And he was one of the only people that I've ever had come to a practice like that I would struggle with.
But that had to also be good for you because now you had somebody that you can
it was. Yeah.
start to even build more.
Yeah, it was.
Because when you're the top dog, that's tough.
Well, we went from having to have like, you know, another guy use 2 hands on me or use a rubber band or all that to I could use Kevin.
Yeah.
And it was definitely better. You know, through 2019, I was probably the strongest I ever was, 2019, 2020. Those were my best years, and I think a lot of that was the training crew we had at that time.
Studs.
Because, you know, Jim Bryan was still coaching me.
Stud.
It was before he passed away. Kevin was on the team.
Stud.
You know, we had a bunch of big dudes, and you know, my left arm was just amazing at that time, and that was when I was really knocking them down and feeling great, and you know, I was real strong at that point.
And you're a righty, right?
Well, I'm right-handed, but I've always
Dominant.
Yeah.
Right hand dominant.
So if I'm gonna write something, it's my right hand.
Okay.
My left hand can't do that. If I'm gonna put the key in the lock, it's my right hand. My left hand can't do that.
So it's here for the party for all the strong stuff.
But all the strong stuff was my left. My right was always a lot smarter, a lot faster, but way weaker.
Okay.
My left was double my right.
Double?
At least. Doing a curl, it was definitely double.
Okay.
I could curl twice as much with my left as I could with my right.
Was it because your left was always fresh compared to your everyday, I use this, this is my hammer?
So what I think is, this is a theory.
Okay.
For people who are incredibly right-hand dominant and their left hand is just dumb, which is me, right? I use my left hand for all the heavy shit to keep my right hand free for all the delicate shit.
It's wild.
And I've done that my entire life, right? The other thing I'll tell you is I grew up working as a farmhand. My cousin had this dairy farm right down the road from my house, and I worked for him for from the time I was 12 till 17, 18, I worked for him. And most of what I did there was shovel.
He means carry cows. Anyway.
Yeah. I've pushed some cows around, never carried it. Carried calves. But when you shovel, the heavy end's in my left hand.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because I'm
sir.
right-handed.
Yes,
My
sir.
right hand's on the butt of the shovel. My left hand's handling the weight.
Yes, sir.
And I think all of that goddamn shoveling I did for all those years, you know, between shoveling shit, shoveling feed, shoveling stone, we were doing every day. It's like it was a fucking shovel. All right. So for 5 years, and I was a high school wrestler at the time too. So I mean, I was using some of this shit as a workout. I mean,
Yeah.
I would split wood for a workout and stuff like that.
I was gonna get to that.
You know, I did a lot of that kind of shit because I didn't have real good access to gym equipment at the time, because I lived way out in the fucking sticks. But you know, I would split wood and I would shovel and shit like that. And I really think because I was a dominant right-hander, my left did all the heavy shit, and my left just developed and developed and developed. When I was at my peak, like my left bicep was 2.5 inches bigger than my right.
Really?
It was a pretty big difference.
That's a huge difference.
Yeah. Now it's like 5 inches smaller after all my problems. But
We're just glad you're here, man.
yeah, I've been through the ringer, but I can't be killed. I've determined I'm fucking immortal. I might be the toughest man in the world.
Good. Make sure I stay close. If that's the case. Right the fuck out. Right into the end of the movie. Alright, what were we talking about?
Well, we talked about WinterBlast.
We did talk about WinterBlast. Ooh, how about, speaking of WinterBlast, how about that huge collab that's gonna go on?
With the arm gods.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
with
so-
Arm Gods.
That's pretty cool stuff.
Right?
You know, there's a lot of people trying to run massive super matches out there, and I don't know, super matches have kind of taken over the sport. They seem to be more prevalent than tournaments these days. It's becoming more and more super matches, especially for the big dogs. You know, most of the big dogs don't pull in tournaments anymore. They're only pulling super matches.
What do you think that's due to? Money?
Well, money pushes a lot of it. Some of it is, you know, I want to go fresh for fresh with the best guy, and I don't want to waste my time in this tournament trying to get to him. Because there's been plenty of times when the top dog got beat in a tournament because, you know, somebody got in a war with him, and then, you know, the guy who should have won didn't because he got in a war halfway through the tournament. So, you know, there's some of that, and then I think it's more publicly digestible to the non-arm wrestling community to watch a super match than it is to see a tournament.
I think you're right. There's a lot going on when it comes to a tournament. There's multiple tables.
Yep.
You don't just have 3 cameras on one table. You've got, you know, 4 or 5 cameras on 3
Yeah.
different tables,
Right.
a bunch of different angles. So there's a lot going on.
Yeah, and it's really hard for somebody who, you know, even sitting in the audience as an arm wrestler, I can't tell where the hell we are in a bracket. I can't tell who's winning what. I can't tell where anybody is. I have no idea where the wins and losses are. I have no idea where I'm even at. I'm waiting for somebody to say my name and I'll walk up. Because I have no idea what's going on. There's just too much shit, right? So I'll walk up and I'll do my job when they call my name and I'll figure out where I place later.
Anyway, after a battery change,
Yeah, the camera guy can't handle his equipment, so you gotta watch out for that.
well, fuck that guy.
He's fun to watch, though, I'll tell you what.
This is not about me, Sean.
I can make it about you easy.
No, I know you can. WinterBlast. Just call my fucking name so I know where to go.
Well, yeah, and that's what I said. That's the problem with the tournament format, you know, for non-arm wrestlers to digest it. It just doesn't work. So I think it's where you get into, like, you know, arm gods and East versus West and, you know, the stuff the High Five's doing with their big production.
Knuckles
and
Up.
Knuckles Up. You know, that's where that stuff becomes so popular. And then the addition of the pay-per-view things is helping them out. They're able to bring in a little bit of revenue that way. So that's helping support it. And that's a line of support that the sport's never thought of exploiting before, I don't think, until these last couple of years. So I think that's helping a little bit. You know, people are getting a little bit smarter about how they do things and how to fund things and stuff like that. So it's good to see that kind of growth. You know, I love the WinterBlast stuff. I love seeing what the High Five guys are doing, you know, because they're knocking it out of the park. Still East Coast,
East Coast, East Coast.
You know, there's a lot of great shit going on in the sport. There's a lot of dumb shit too. You know, there's all the petty arguing that seems to never go away. There's this guy's mad at this guy, and there's this guy banning these people, and WAF banned everybody. I don't think there's anybody left that can pull a WAF. I mean, you know, the political side of it's just dumb.
You're all banned. We're shutting down.
Yeah. You know,
Okay.
it's funny because I saw that happen back when I was a powerlifter. You know, the big dog in powerlifting back then was the WPO, the World Powerlifting Organization. And they got all pissed off at everybody because of the way things were going. Proud to say I was the first one banned. Got in an argument with the owner, and I was banned for life from WPO in 2006-ish. So very proud of that. And they did the same thing. They started banning people for disagreeing. They banned people for any kind of a public discussion. You know, if you said anything negative, you got banned, and then they disappeared.
Go figure, huh?
So it's funny, if you ban all your athletes, it's really hard to run an athletic competition. Who knew?
Yeah, I believe something like that recently happened, and then somebody may have retracted and said, "Oh no, it's only for a year."
Yeah, I don't know. There's so much crap going on, and I see all this stuff online, and I tend to ignore as much of it as I can because I don't care about the drama, to be honest with you. And I'm no longer able to compete really with all my injuries and surgeries and all the shit I've had happen over the last year or so. So it's not like it directly affects me. So I just don't pay that much attention to it. I see some of it because I'm like Facebook friends with some of the people involved.
Okay.
So I see some bits and pieces of it, and I see some people's opinions, and it's kind of hard when you're friends with both guys on both sides of the argument. So I just stay the hell out of most of it.
I'm telling you, man, when it comes to drama, it's fucking run the other way.
Yeah, there's too much of it. And part of I know where part of it comes from. There's no money in arm wrestling really at this stage, right? So you got a bunch of different people who are scrambling, trying to hold on to a little bit to be able to push their organization and grow to where there is money. And everybody's worried about keeping track of theirs. And I understand where that comes from. The problem is when it becomes public and it turns into a public fight, it's a bad view on the whole sport.
Absolutely.
And that's where I really hate seeing it go. I don't like seeing the public fights. I don't like seeing the guy doing the video on Facebook who's, you know, mad at the other guy and mad at the organization and, you know, you organization A, you suck, and organization B is better, and anybody who competes in organization A is now banned from organization B. What did that do for the sport? It just it's divisive. It's divisive. You know, I came up in a little bit earlier in the sport when we were a lot more unified, at least within the U.S.
Teams.
The rest of well, actually, I mean, we had national level organizations for a little while. When I came up in the sport, there was two major organizations. You had USAA and you had AAA.
Okay.
Okay. AAA was mostly the eastern half of the country, and USAA, which does still exist, had the western half of the country.
Now, was AAA, did they start off as sit-downs?
I'm not sure, long history way back, but AAA had been around for a very long time. They were a very good organization. I really liked the people who ran it. You know, Frank and Karen Bean are awesome people. They were real easy to get along with. They had a good rule set. They didn't screw with anything. The rules were the same all the time.
Beautiful.
Right? So you didn't show up and somebody rewrote the rule book last week.
We're allowing bobbles.
Right. So you know, it was a lot cleaner at that time. And then we had unified nationals, and that was where the people from both organizations ran a national championship to send people to WAF.
Okay.
For Worlds, right? And it was actually run by both organizations concurrently. Everybody got together, and even if they didn't really agree on everything, they still ran it, and it ran well. and we actually had kind of a much more unified system. That, AAA went away. The Beans retired and decided that AAA was done, and the USAA they're still in business, and they're still running, and they're allied with a lot of the people who are working on things now. But it's become a much more regionally run sport. So now you have a regional group that runs things, right? Like you got 98% kind of runs the stuff, in a big circle around Philadelphia, right? You've got, Texas Arm Wrestling League runs
Yes.
Texas.
Correct.
So it became a much more regionally driven sport.
FAL, Florida Arm Wrestling League.
Yep. Yeah. So you got groups like that all over the place that are running things now instead of having a big national organization. And I think it has helped make the sport a little more popular, but it's also divided the sport up. And it's caused a lot of the arguments you see and a lot of the drama you see. And I think that, more unity would help a lot. I like the regional model, but I would like all of those regions to talk to each other and kind of work through their differences and be friendly. And I think that would go a hell of a lot farther to promote the sport rather than arguing and chasing after scraps.
Yeah.
And I think that the sport would benefit from that. I don't know if we'll ever get there. I think it's human nature to always protect your own and not, be as collaborative as might be useful. So I think there's some of that in there. But, you can always hope.
So we covered WinterBlast, we covered Arm Gods, we covered tournaments,
Yeah.
we covered super matches.
We talked a lot about a lot of shit.
We did. Now what about you?
Me, I'm falling apart.
Well,
Physically, I'm a disaster area.
yeah, but you're coming back together.
Well, I was,
Yeah.
and then I got more problems. So, yeah, I had that neck surgery
Okay.
in January of 24, and I had 1,001 complications from it. Damn near died. They had to. There was a point where my heart stopped, and they had to shock me 3 times to get it back. It fucked me up. I wound up in a inpatient rehab for a month to learn how to walk again, and all that kind of bullshit. And my neck still ain't right. Biggest problem with it is I've got nerve damage, and it affects my left arm.
The hammer arm.
So my good arm is junk. My thumb and my first 2 fingers are numb all the time. My tricep is emaciated, basically. It's damn near gone. I have very little pushing power. Like if there's a decent wind, I have trouble pushing the car door open with this arm.
Okay.
I gotta get my foot on it.
Okay.
The bicep works kind of okay, but this arm will never compete again. The nerve damage is permanent, and it's done. It'll never compete again. So
Well, that fucking sucks.
It does, but I've had a lot of good years in the sport. I got a bunch of national titles.
I'm looking at them all.
Yeah, in my training facility here, I got all my trophies up on the wall from powerlifting, from high school wrestling, from a lot of arm wrestling. It's at the point I ain't got enough room to keep them all. So
Yeah.
it's probably good I'm retiring out.
I'll add some pictures. I'll add pictures to the video so they can see it.
But I got shit everywhere. And for people who haven't ever been here and aren't familiar or don't follow me online or anything, I have a pole barn behind my house. That's my training facility. It's mostly gym and a little bit garage.
It's what we're in right now.
It's where we're sitting right now after practice. But I've got an actual training facility. I got 4 arm wrestling tables. I got all my gym equipment out here. This is where I train. This is where I train people. This is where we have our practices on Sundays. I don't know how many other people, I don't know how many arm wrestlers actually have a training facility. I'm sure most people follow like Brian Shaw online, and you've seen his massive training facility.
Yeah.
Mine's about 10% of that.
But nonetheless, it is.
Yeah, but it's mine. I got everything I need, and then I hung up all, every plaque and every trophy and everything I've got. I hung up, just to kind of decorate the walls up more than anything. And it turned out I got a lot of shit. So
he also has everything that I need, even a 4-post lift.
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff. I'm a car guy
That
too.
one of my cars have been on already.
Yeah, we helped him out one time fixing a car. It was fun watching him work. Let me tell you, he's better with a camera. I've got a nice facility here to train in. So I'm working on my rehab again. So I had the neck surgery last year, and it fucked me up. And then last fall, I started having some troubles with my heart. I've got an arrhythmia. I get atrial fibrillation. So I've been fighting that shit.
Oh.
I'm probably gonna.
Your wife makes your heart flutter?
Well, that's a different thing. It's a little lower.
Sorry. Anyway.
So I'm dealing with that, trying to work through that. I'm probably going to have a procedure done to fix that. That's coming up in the near future, I think. And then I was trying to give Kevin Kaler a workout one day, and I herniated a disc in my back.
Again, there's that Kevin name again.
Yeah. I was starting to get stronger, and I was starting to get to where I thought maybe I could compete with my right hand. And I was really thinking about pulling master's class at WinterBlast.
Okay.
So by
Masters 40, 50?
it's either 40 or 45 and up.
I believe it's 40 because I'm able to pull in it.
Yeah.
And I'm 42.
Yeah. And people keep screwing with the ages to one organ. It used to be it was always 40. 40 and up was masters everywhere. And then
50 and up is, what do they call that? Senior masters or something like that?
There was grandmasters, and then ultra masters.
For the real silver foxes.
I'll tell you, you know what's pretty cool? If you go to one of the big national championships, you would see these old men in their 70s. And I know a few of them personally. And they would walk up on that stage with their cane and hand their cane to somebody and arm wrestle. And that's awesome to see. I love seeing that.
Hand that cane up, I'm like, nope, you got it, brother.
I don't know if you
about to go for a ride.
I don't know if you ever met Milt Christmas.
No, sir.
He's down in Maryland. Older gentleman. I think he's 75 or 76 years old, still competing.
Probably brutally strong too.
Yeah, he's a real thin black guy. Been around forever. Nicest guy you'll ever meet. I think he might have the record for the longest arm wrestling match ever. It was at sit downs a few years ago. If you hunt for it online, you'll find it.
Sit downs where?
In Virginia at the sit down championships.
Sit down championships in Virginia.
And there is like a 14 or 16 minute match he had.
What?
And I think he was like 69 or 70 at the time.
And he was having this match with whom? Was it
with another guy the same age.
Saint?
What do you do with that when you got that kind of longevity in the sport?
Nothing, you just wait till whoever wins.
Yeah. So I had hoped I would have that kind of longevity. But it didn't work.
I don't know how you could think. I don't know how them guys do it. Anytime when I pull hard, I end up fucking pulling some sort of like neck muscle or a trap. And it's like, and then
yeah.
I'm like, yeah. What's going on? Yeah. All right.
Yeah, so I spent almost the entirety of January 2025 in the hospital.
Last month?
Yeah, so they had to shock my heart again because of the arrhythmia before they could do the surgery on my back. So I had a back surgery. They worked on, I think it's L3, L4. They did a discectomy and laminectomy.
Okay, so lower back.
Yeah, they did a minimally invasive, so at least it's only a scar that's like that big. So that's not too bad, and there's no hardware involved, which is where you really get into problems after a back surgery.
Yeah, I got him.
Yeah, I got them in my neck. I got rods and screws all through. That's why my head doesn't go up as far as it's supposed to. Look, I'm coming back fast.
Good.
You know, I'm up and walking good. I'm walking farther and farther every day. I'll hopefully get back to work in a couple of weeks.
I was just about to ask you, are you back to work yet?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Luckily, I have a very good job with very good insurance, so I got a good disability plan, so it's not hurting me to be out of work.
Okay.
Except for the fact that I ran out of shit on Netflix and I'm bored. So I need to get back to work.
Man, I'm retired. You ain't gonna tell me nothing about board.
I don't do board very well, especially when I can't go do the things I want to do because I'm not physically able to yet.
Call me.
So there's only so much I can do, but it's getting better. You know, I heard it in like October, and then it got worse and worse and worse. And by New Year's Day, I actually called an ambulance because it hurt so bad I couldn't bend my leg enough to get in the car to go to the hospital. So that's been the party lately. So I was in there from the 1st to the 29th was when they discharged me. So I'm you know, I haven't been out of the hospital quite a month yet. Doing physical therapy. This week I started back on the weights. So 5. Can you believe that? 5 whole pounds. It's embarrassing.
This is not a 3D video.
Yeah, I know. If you follow me online on Instagram, I put up some really boring videos of it, so you can fall asleep to that.
He shares a lot of food stuff too.
That's only on Facebook, and my Facebook is much more restricted than my Instagram. My Instagram is wide open. Anybody can follow me on there. I'm Sean Arm Wrestler, SHAWN.
There you go. Give him a follow
on Instagram. If you want to be bored, or you want to see a fat guy barely walking around his gym, that's where you go.
How about this? Would you guys like to have me come over here and maybe do a couple videos with Sean, and he can show you some basic arm wrestling movements, workouts, stuff like that? Let me know in the comments below.
No, good idea. Yeah, if somebody'd like to see that kind of stuff, we can certainly do it. You know, I do coach these guys. My practices are a little different than some other practices. You know, a lot of practices you go to are just guys sparring on the table and who can win. A lot of times I spend quite a bit of time with the guys working on technique, and we do a lot of work around you know, table position and technique. And especially when a guy's got a match coming up, you know, exactly how to handle the guy that they're going to be pulling. So, you know, and we've had a lot of success with it. So we got some real good guys with some real good successes. You know, I got Kevin Kaler, who's kicking ass. You know, Ray Romanowski just won his last super match.
Woo, stud!
You know, he's come a long way in a short period of time, and all of a sudden, you know, he's you know, top level referee and kicking ass in super matches.
He puts in the work. Puts in the work.
You know, and nicest,
puts in the work.
Yeah, and nicest dude you're ever going to meet too. You know, so I got a lot of really good guys. I got a lot of new guys, so I do a lot of coaching, a lot of training. You know, working on hand position and finger position and elbow position and what you're doing with the table and which direction to go and why not to do that thing and why to do the other thing and when to do the thing that I told you never to do except for this time, and you know, that kind of stuff. We have a lot of fun with it.
Why does this happen? You're doing what I keep telling you not to do.
Yeah, just do it. If it doesn't work, and it still doesn't work, do what your coach told you to the first time. You know, we have a lot of fun here, and we have a good practice. You know, we once in a while we get some visitors. We get some, you know, really good folks, and yeah, we have a good time with it. So it's a good time, you know. But I've had, you know, I've had some folks like Paul Lynn come over here to train with us before, and We've had the Maryland crew come up a few times and stuff like that. So
Who consists of the Maryland crew?
well, Dave Morocco was running the practices. I don't know who's doing what down there now. I haven't been paying attention.
Okay, what it used to be. Who
So-
used to be the Maryland guys?
So I know Dave Morocco used to run the practices at his house.
Dave Morocco.
You had Kenny.
I suck at this, so.
I'm so bad with names too.
Ah.
Kenny Smith,
Okay, Kenny Smith.
um,
Dave Morocco, Kenny Smith.
Dave Morocco, and then he had a bunch of younger guys that I'm really not familiar with,
Okay.
with down there. And then I think like the hell's his name? Junior
Oh, Junior.
was training there, and
He's also a referee as well, correct?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Isn't he like 70?
Nah, I don't think he's that old, but he's up there.
60s maybe? I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. Like I said, I don't know a lot of
I'm-
people, so please
yeah.
don't be offended by
Yeah.
what I say. I just don't know.
And I can't remember names to save my ass. And my memory is not great after some of the medical things that have happened to me in the last year, so I apologize if I forgot somebody's name.
Yeah, medical.
Old age isn't helping either. Too many birthdays. But we've had some good guys come over. Like I know, like when Paul Lynn was getting ready for one of his matches, he came over just to have Kevin Kaler put power on his arm. So we've had some stuff like that, and most anybody's welcome to come train here. There's one or two people who I wouldn't let come train here, but they know why and they're aware of it.
So if somebody were in the area and wanted to come train here with you, how would they go about doing that?
Best way is to message me online. If you find me on Facebook,
Facebook Messenger.
Facebook Messenger works great. That's where most people find me. I'll tell you, most of my new people wind up getting here through Ryan Grondin,
Okay,
which
there
is
you go.
which is funny because they'll reach out to Ryan because of 98% and go, "Hey, where can I practice? How can I get into arm wrestling?"
That's exactly what I did.
Right? And Grondin will go, "Where do you live?" "Okay, you're closer to Sean than you are to anybody else."
Perfect.
And
Absolutely.
So we've gotten some new people that way, and that's been really good. We've got I think total in the group there's like 36 people, but on any given day we get 10 or 12 at practice. It's not always the same 10 or 12. So
True. It's a pretty big group, but you have a set few people that are always here.
yeah. There's the people who are always here, and there's some folks who float in and out. There's some folks who come every couple weeks. There's some folks who come every other week, and then there's the folks who are always here. And we run every weekend on Sundays. But hey, if you were traveling to Philadelphia for whatever and you wanted to get a practice in on a Sunday, hit me up. We're going to be here unless there's a massive tournament going on or I'm in the hospital again. So.
It should just be, what is it, just regular Sean, S-H-A-W-N, Lattimer?
Yep. Yeah, if you look me up, you'll recognize this mug of mine on Facebook.
Yep.
And just message me, and I have my messenger set up so it works like text messaging, so I get a boom and it shows up on my messenger.
Okay.
So it shows up all the time, and that's the way most people get to me.
It'll be the guy that looks like Shrek.
Hey, I only did that once,
It doesn't matter. It's stuck.
and I did it for kids, and it was amazing.
No shit. Did you see what you looked like? You looked like Shrek.
For people who don't know, and there's videos out there on YouTube if you hunt far enough. Back in 2017, I did a charity event. Some friends of mine run this charity for Hope Kids, and it's for kids with life-threatening diseases. And they run this big powerlifting meet. And a bunch of muscleheads got together, and they said, how do we do something bigger and better? And it was a bunch of powerlifters in a room, a bunch of strong guys, and they went, so how do we do a big send-off for this? Because I forget if it was I think the deal was they were going to finally hit $1 million raised that year.
Whoa.
And these guys raised massive money for this organization. And I think that was the milestone. That's why they wanted to do it. And they're like, well, how do we do something excellent to close out this year? And somebody went, arm wrestling match. So we decided we're going to do an arm wrestling match, and the only arm wrestler those guys knew was me. So they reached out to me. We got Jeff Dabe involved, and I think everybody knows who Jeff Dabe is with the gigantic hands, left-hand puller, good friend of mine. And Jeff's wife decided we should do it in costumes for the kids. So I got spray painted green, and she actually made my costume to make me into Shrek. And then Jeff was Wreck-It Ralph, which basically all he had to do was put on the Wreck-It Ralph clothes, because he already looks like Wreck-It Ralph.
100%.
So we actually and we pulled for real. We did a left-hand super match, best of 5.
People are going to want to know. You have, look, just first off, look at this man's hands. They're huge.
It's a little bigger than yours.
He's got a whole fingertip on me. Jeff, Dave, Dobb, whatever, that dude's hands are probably about, what, twice that size?
I think his left is, well, okay, so Jeff's left is bigger than his right. He doesn't pull right hand, he only pulls left.
Okay.
And I've pulled him, I don't know, 20, 30 times over the years. I met him in a wall event in 2014. His hand is about as much bigger than mine as mine is than yours, lengthwise. But the thickness of his hand is amazing. And people make an assumption that it's going to be like squishy, fatty, kind of, no, it's hard as a rock, and it's strong as hell. When he would grab me, his pinky lands about there on my wrist.
So full containment.
Yep. And he's a hooker.
Oh, come here. Fudge.
Yeah. So I would do what I would do with my left arm and just top roll him.
Oh, okay.
And I top rolled right through that hand many times. And he was pissed every time. He's got 1 win on me, and it was actually during that Shrek match. I won 4, he won 1.
Did you let him slide into a hook?
No, actually I pulled that match with a massive tear in my wrist.
Smart.
There's something called the TFC cartilage in your wrist, and I had torn that at a wall event not long before that, but I had already agreed to do the match with Jeff.
Okay, so you're not a sissy.
And me and Jeff talked it over, and Jeff was like, well, we could just, fake it and go through the motions. And I said, fuck that. If I'm coming up there to pull, I'm flying to Minnesota, we're going to really fucking pull. So what I did, because my wrist wasn't any good, I hooked him and pulled through his hook for most of the matches. There was one match where I forgot to hook. I went back to my habitual top roll, and
It hurt?
It just wouldn't go, and he got me. So he won that one match. So he's got 1 lifetime win on me. But we did it all for charity. I think I raised like $2,500 for it, just to help. I think Jeff did the same thing. I think the deal was, like, they invited all these people for all the powerlifters, and you had to raise at least $500 to go.
Wow, okay.
But they had businesses and stuff that were donating, $20,000 and stuff like that. And they brought all the kids out of the hospital. So you had these sick kids there who were cheering for you. The funniest part is there was a woman there, big power lifter. She's got to be 5 at the time. I know she's lost a lot of weight now. At the time, she's probably like 5'10". She was like 350. I think she
had a whole nother person on me.
So she was dressed up as Shrek's girlfriend Fiona. She was all painted green. She had a green dress on.
Okay.
So there was this one little girl. She had, I forget what she had. It was some kind of this syndrome, very rare disease. But Shrek was her favorite character in the world. So she kept coming and finding me and dragging me by the hand, and then we'd have to go find Fiona, and then I'd have to dance with Fiona.
Fuck. Well.
So this poor woman had to dance with my fat ass like 8 times because the 7-year-old said so.
Oh, well.
So we did it. So.
How much did you pay the little girl?
What was funny too is I went in the bathroom and washed all the paint off after everything was done, And I came out, and that little girl was there in the hallway and didn't even recognize me without the Shrek paint. She walked right by me and didn't recognize me at all. So that little girl really thought she was playing with Shrek all day. And I don't care how much money I spent to get there. I don't care about my hotel bill. I don't care about my rental car bill.
Worth it.
Worth it. That girl had a day with Shrek.
I mean, every time I come over here, you're green, so I mean, I can't unsee it. That picture on Facebook that I saw, I was like, I can't unsee this. Like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
that's all I see when I see you.
Yeah, you paint me up, and the costume was good, and it was pretty good resemblance. It was.
No, it was spot on.
Yeah, it was pretty good. So, but there's videos and stuff out there of that stuff if you hunt far enough.
Well, I think that's about enough of tugging on your ear, my brother.
Yeah, I could tell stories all day. I've been in this sport too long. So.
It's all right. We have years to get these stories.
Yes. I got a story with damn near everybody.
All right, brother.
All right, dude.
All right, man. Hey, guys. There'll be more.